the second fight with Royce Gracie.
Right.
Because people were scared about getting in the guard, and then you realized it was a matter of just controlling the hips. You control the guard, and you wanted to be in the guard because that was where you had control. And unfortunately, they put that 30-minute time limit on
Right.
when you had trained, because when it thought it was so cool when he said, "I'm going to destroy the myth."
Yep.
The myth that the Brazilians were better conditioned and also were better
Technically, right. And again, obviously they changed the time limit because my idea was to wear him out probably, I don't know, 30, 45 minutes in. I felt like he would be exhausted enough for me to be able to just do what I wanted to do to him. And of course they put that time limit in there, but it was 2 days before the fight. I couldn't change my strategy. So I just stuck with it. And if you see the way the fight went, Royce was exhausted after 20, 25 minutes when they did the overtime. The extra 3 minutes, he was exhausted. And so my plan had been working to a T. And I think what most people fail to realize, because the Gracies had kept pushing into people's minds, that if you stayed in the guard, that you would get submitted. It was the actual opposite of that. If you tried to escape from the guard, you would get submitted. If you stayed in the guard and controlled the hips and ground and pounded them, and allowed them to be the ones that moved, flip the script on them, make them move, then you would be better off than you trying to struggle to get out of the guard. And then you'd be susceptible to arm bars and leg chokes and even being turned and ended up on the bottom. And so I broke it down very, very, scientifically. When I trained for that fight, I literally said, I'm going to sit in his wheelhouse. I'm going to control his hips, and I'm going to beat on him with my head and body shots, slamming my head into his head, slamming my fists into his body, putting pressure down on his stomach so he can't breathe, and at the same time controlling his hips. And it was a slow fight, no question. But I felt like being in the guard, making him do the one that has to move, and me not being the one that has to move, he would make the mistakes and I would beat him up. And that's literally what happened. If that fight didn't have a time limit, he'd have been toast because he had nothing left.